Привет из Дубая. С вами передача «ГолубьМира», где разбираем крутые навыки. Спрашиваем на английском, отвечаем на русском. Подтягивайте язык или смотрите перевод в тайм-кодах. Let's talk about personal development and let's start with the definition.
Personal development is a way how you develop yourself when you trying to become more perfect person. Some people think that they could read very fast or could type on the keyboard with speed which is enough to understand, but this is very wrong. You know, it's very strange, but when I start to read books, suddenly I realized that I couldn't do nothing in proper way. My походка statue,
Walking.
my walking is wrong, my reading is wrong, my typing is wrong, my etiquette is wrong, my competences also are wrong. So everything is wrong. How to breathe, how to drink, how to prepare food, how to choose a place in a plane, how to prepare for, I don't know, a desert safari and so on. And you know, it's became very pressing. You will realize that all time you will meet something strange. For example, you will find a leaf, but you don't know what tree it fallen from. You will find, for example, some worm, some small creature while diving, or maybe you will find a desert fox, or maybe you will see some star which is sparkling in the sky, and all the time you will think, I don't know the name of it. I don't know how it was created, how this mountain appears on the face of the planet, how this eagle could see the rabbit from the very long distance, why these tigers are so yellow or orange one. They are very заметный, noticeable,
Visible.
very
Noticeable.
visible on the background of jungle. But if you will read books, if you will speak with scientists, you will discover that everything is matter, and you will find answer for all your questions. But you know, a lot of people never ask question. If you will say, come on, are you able to make conspect? I am Maxim Golub and I wrote an article, and everyone was saying, oh, come on, you're a cool guy, but no one will read it, you know. So people do not want to spend time for personal development, and then they sometimes жалуются, appealing,
Complain.
I have a small salary, I have small position, I have small house with very few bedrooms, but the reason you are not going to develop yourself. If you will stay as a wild grass, no one will expect from you fruits. But if you are trying to make from yourself a garden, there could be found peaches and berries and plums, and you will become useful and well paid.
Well, probably we may want to touch on the motivation, but maybe slightly later because like it also could be different, whether it's like something pushing, pulling, like a fears or hopes or dreams or anything like that. But when it comes to deciding like where exactly you want to put in your like a backlog, because most of the time we like can do only one task one by one, not like multitasking. So what should be the process of prioritizing or maybe even reassessing priorities? Because like life is also could give a gift or surprises, so you need to like accidentally learn something very very fast. So what should be, I would say, like if we imagine the person who's juggling something in the circus, like how they should prioritize what to put in the air at this given point of time.
It was a story which was told by Steve Jobs, and he was telling about this juggling, yes?
Juggling.
Juggling with some balls. One of them are rubber, and if you will fall down, it will go and you could catch. But some of them would be glass, and you will break it. Some of them is steel made, so it is heavy to carry. But there is a life. And when I listen to someone who is saying how you could make priorities with your businesses, it is never could be done. Everything is important. For example, you will care about your language, but your mother could be in a hospital. You could carry something about your belly and you're trying to make your press looking impressive. But for example, at this time, you will be not the best worker in your company. You will try, for example, to learn Spanish, but suddenly you will be hired by a Chinese company. So there is nothing to choose. You could and you should know everything. And you know, everyone will tell me, but it is impossible to make this. But look at me. I always do just impossible. If someone say, I could not do this, you should do this. For example, I was learning like 30 languages. Yes, they maybe even worse than my English, but I could understand Chinese, Spanish, Portuguese, Sinhalese, and some other. I could speak on Swahili, but you know, when you will be in Africa, they will say you, no one to be a white man could speak Swahili, but I could. It is a matter of your priorities. If you want to stay fit, if you want to stay hungry, if you want to be open-minded, you should always try to catch the fastest bus.
And when we look into the, let's say, like all of our personal development tracks, they might be like having a different ways of acquiring the knowledge, processing, etc. So how deep we should go, and like what many, like what different sources we should consume? Should it be like a book, articles? Should we take a like a note, or maybe even create presentations? And obviously, we probably may want to, you know, like write some sort of articles, like if we understood something. So how deep should our like a process in studying something, so that at least we can say, okay, this is the level that I achieve now. Maybe I just will move to another level, or maybe another skill.
Maxim, I will tell you two stories. First, I was flying a lot abroad and a lot domestic flights. It was in Ukraine, in Belarus, in Kazakhstan, in Russia, in Russia, yes. And I have been, I don't know, maybe in 2,000 cities in these territories, but sometimes I miss them. I couldn't understand. Is it, for example, Khabarovsk or Дальний Восток? These cities are almost the same coordinates, and I have been there at one flight. Or for example, Barnaul and Novosibirsk. Between the cities, there is like 150 kilometers. And I have been in one city, then I was moved by a car, short distance, and another half of the distance by another car. So for one flight, I have like 2-3 cities. And after this, I could meet them. I have been just in offices in Alpha Bank or for my clients, and also in these airports. So I have nothing to remember. The same, I was diving, and you know, for very first time, I was wondering, oh, it's a shark whale or basking shark, or it's, for example, manta ray, or it's something huge like hammerhead shark and something like this. But after 50 or 100 dives, suddenly I realized it is very boring to see and to look at the huge creatures. Suddenly I realized that people who are skilled one, they are trying to stay as close to the bottom as possible to look for very small features. And suddenly this emptiness, this deep blue became for me filled with small creatures. And you know, to look for the shrimps and calamaris and some other creatures more fascinating than look to manta ray or to this whale shark. The same in books. You know, okay, there is like 100 or 1,000 books which could be read because this very important, like Cialdini, Psychology of Influence, and so on. But you know, sometimes you will understand in books written by girls, by boys, you will find some very funny thoughts. This couldn't be written by old ones, grown-ups, because they have another vision. So when you're trying to make your development, for very first time, you will think, okay, I could be on this mountain, I want to dive in this ocean. It's like comparison, but suddenly you will realize, no, it's quite funny to look in the luja puddle.
Probably a paddle or something like that.
It is very funny to look a puddle, or for example, to look between the roots of some, I don't know, pine tree, and you will find these ants, you will find some bugs, you will find some something else, and is a small life which no one see. Everyone could see elephant, everyone could see giraffe, but not too many people know how this ant house is organized.
And yeah, obviously, when we look into all of the things that surrounds us, and we trying to actually build the connections, like for example, even if we look at the ants, we might be like thinking about the sociology or whatever. But at certain point of time, we also need to be probably systematic, or more, with a more or less degree, like when we pick the time to, like to get all of the studies, to get all of the books, and like where to sit, where to just like settle down and do only, like studies, or maybe we could try to do things on the go. So what might be the mechanics of, like this data consumption, processing, and maybe even creating insight, or maybe creating the insight between different disciplines?
First, you should switch off your autopilot. A lot of people, they making work, home work, to the work, walk to the children garden, kindergarten or children garden.
Kindergarten.
Sorry. So they look nothing, especially when you have a gadget. I sometimes look at people in the subway, in the plane, or something else, and they always look to this gadget which is installed in the chair before them, or they just sit with phone. And I'm wondering, why are you going outside? Why you do not want to look at other people? They have faces, they have habits, they have so many funny things. You could talk with them. If you will play some game and put some cartoon in a row, in diagonal, yes, they will disappear. You will get your bonus and some digits will increase. But if it works to make it, I have a lot of people who are very rich one, and I like to go to live with them in some countries. It could be Cyprus or Latvia or some other. And the best thing what we do, always we put away our phones. There is no need to use them. We take scissors and we are going to cut the trees. We're going to collect some fruits and vegetables. We dig some channels. We trying to fight with, I don't remember, Babri, which is building dump.
Probably hedgehog or badger. I think hedgehog probably might be better.
Hedgehog, I think it's ежик.
Otters.
Maybe I forgot this. And you build small bridges, you clean some, I don't know how to say, source of fresh water, родники.
Sparkles.
And you will spend, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes, maybe 50, and suddenly you will realize that you are tired, but you are happy. So when you work with your phone, you could make it for 4 hours, and you will be not breathing by fresh air. You will be not working, and you will be not tired. So your muscles doesn't work. But if you work on the garden, if you work with trees, if you make fishing, if you make something, suddenly you will realize, I have a very lazy body and it is already tired and I have already sweat and so on. And if you spend several days on the nature, you will understand it is nice, nice to listen for the birds, to look for sunrise, to find everything around. It is very dangerous when we're trying to protect our eyes with a screen.
Well, I guess it might be one of the distinguishing factor, like when someone is trying to hide into the little piece of plastic that they have in their hands, otherwise, or vice versa, like trying to explore the amazing world that we surrounded by. But when we also look into the kind of, I would say, like a meta skills, because like sometimes you may want to like speed up certain things. You may want to use some sort of like archiving, like a mental, in order to like put all this information. What might be the helpful skills in order to allow you to move faster and more efficient on your tracks of self-development?
I was making a lot of mistakes during my personal development, and it's very pity. And now we're writing with some guys book about how to go directly. I started with speed reading. I was wrong. You should start with blind typing. Blind typing, it will take you in total like 20 hours, and you will use it every day. Speed reading, it is not easy to obtain. I was studying, learning, teaching, how to say?
Studying.
I was studying for 5 times, and now I am not happy with my speed. I spent, yes, a lot of people think that I read a lot, but I know a lot of people who could read twice faster than me. Maxim, twice. I spent for one page like 9.5 seconds by statistics, but I know a lot of people who spend 5 seconds and even less. It's a pity, and maybe it's because I started to learn speed reading in 11 years. It was too early. Second, you should always find time for sport. If you will fill your blood with air, I don't know how to say it, to saturize with oxygen, насытить кислородом.
Oxygen.
Yes, if you will saturize with oxygen, your brain will work. First thing, you should always try to eat best food you could have. Never eat garbage food. Never eat too much salt and sugar and sparkling soda water. Yes, сладкая газировка.
Soda water. Yeah.
Soda water. It's better to wear not fancy shirt, not fancy shoes, but to feed yourself with best grocery you could buy. And maybe last one, it's about love. You should have love in your life, love for your work, love for your pora, spouse, and also life for your family.
And well, sometimes, yeah, like if we will be fulfilled with the love, we would just like we will be eating well. There is also might be, like probably periods when we might be overloading our brain. So do we need to have like maybe like a decrease the tempo or like a completely shut down, and how to get the signs that, like now it's time to rest, or maybe you need just to do it like in a systematic ways?
Maxim, it's very important questions, and it is very rarely asked. Yes, sometimes you will find yourself very tired and a bit angry, and you will forget name of scientist or maybe some numbers or maybe some proportions. And this is a very tough sign. You should have a rest. Last 40 years, I work without any vacation. So I work every day. I try to read every day. Okay, this is not completely true, but I try. And sometimes I feel that I could not read, I could not run, I couldn't write something. And in this case, I switch for another type of deal, and I never have pity about this. Okay, I couldn't read. I don't like to read today. Okay, I will make push-ups. Okay, I don't want to make push-ups. I will stay with my wife and we will go shopping. So this is about how to live, not how to be a robot.
Well, and my last question will be how knowing about personal development could help to make this world a better place.
First, you should understand that there is always place to rebuild yourself. No one knows boundary of our brain. No one knows boundary of our muscles. Each 10 years, we have another achievement in swimming, in running, in some other kind of sport, and we will find some amazing people. They can do almost impossible. For example, I know this man personally. His name Alexander Levchenko, and he could remember 1.5 million digits after the comma in a P. It's very, very huge. He is Ukrainian. And I know two guys from Russia. First was Stas Matveyev. I have his book. He wrote this name is Phenomenal Memory. He was able to remind 8,320 digits. And if you compare, he is Russian leader in memory. 1.5 million and 8.3 thousand. How big is the difference? The same with running. Someone couldn't run even 1 kilometer, and we already having this conversation about Lawrence James, who ran like several thousand kilometers per month, and this is almost impossible. For last 6 years, I wrote already 100 books, and I became just third person in Russia who has such amount of books. And it's always funny when I try to write these things. Everyone will say, come on, you couldn't do this. But if you have a lot of achievements, for example, we now create 7,000 podcasts, and this is a world record if we will compare to Guinness book. For example, you already live in several countries, and some people who were in the same class with you, they will maybe even couldn't believe that you have been working from Omsk in Singapore and in Dubai. Even if you will show them pictures and photos, and on each photo you will be standing, and your son will stand, and some other people they know will stand. For example, like your mother, they will say, "Come on, this could be Photoshop." You know, if you're trying to develop yourself, you will never hesitate about others, and you will be happy about their achievement. Okay, Maxim was working on such project. Maxim was on this mountain. Maxim was flying on some very special kind of aircraft, and you will be happy for this. But people who do not want to develop themselves, they always be angry and jealous. It couldn't be done. And you know, this may be the best compliment you could get. They will say, it can be done, but you know that you have done it for several times.
Ставьте великие цели и получайте знания назло злым людям и для того, чтобы делать добро всем остальным. А мы рассмотрели навык индивидуальное развитие и чем он полезен именно вам. Всем мира.